The TV show that we wrote for this course is titled The Cure. It is a zombie apocalypse themed show where the few survivors of humanity are quarantined in a secret military bunker while a team of scientists work on finding a cure. We have relatively few main characters. Our central character is Jim Redshirt. He is a hardworking young man who has ambitions one day to be named the Director of Genetic Research of Varmint Industries. The main focus of the show from a managerial standpoint is watching Jim learn and use the various concepts of management, such as conflict resolution, team cohesion, decisive actions, and ethics. I suppose next in importance is our antagonist. This would be Dr. Sean, full of himself. The good doctor is not nearly as smart and capable as he would like people to believe. He has made his career by marrying well, pushing his failures off on other people, and taking credit for other successes. In the show, he is the force that Jim is working against, and in the season finale, he creates the biggest ethics dilemma that Jim had ever faced. Dr. Amanda Bosslady is the CEO of Varmint Industries. She is also the wife of Dr. Full of Himself. She is guilty of turning a blind eye to her husband's shortcomings and of nepotism for appointing him to the head of a department when she knew that he didn't have the skills needed. This becomes apparent as the show progresses, and she realizes exactly how badly she might have screwed up the operation by allowing an unqualified person to hold such an important spot. Adam Mute is the team's disease mutation expert. He is somewhat immature and definitely socially inept, but he is brilliant in his field. He is the one who cracks the problem of finding a cure. Samantha Fluttershy is the team's human anatomy expert. She is very shy and withdrawn at the beginning, but soon realizes that she must stand up for herself more. This is a skill she learns throughout the show, and she displays it when she confronts Adam over his mishandling of the test subjects in episode number 6. David Knucklehead is another slacker who likes to take credit for other people's work. However, in the show, Jim recognizes this trait and makes it very hard for David to take credit away from anyone. In episode 4 and 6, David attempts to undermine and belittle Jim, but Jim uses his conflict resolution skills to foil him.
Incorporated into our TV show, The Cure. All 9 of the concepts are directly related to the course material and in effect to cover as much as the curriculum in the course as possible. Every episode and every different character shows a different examples of business management skills. The 9 concepts we have aimed to incorporate in the show: decision-making, organizational structure, culture and human resources, individual behavior, foundation of control, foundation of planning, managing change and innovation, communication and interpersonal skills, managing groups and teams, and finally motivating leadership and trust. Our TV show is set in Tampa Bay, Florida, during a zombie pandemic that has spread across our nation. Our characters are obligated to seek refuge in a military bunker under a government contract with the company, the Varmint Corporation, in hopes to develop a cure for the pandemic. In our show, you will see the decision-making being an important factor on the tough road of developing a cure. Many decisions will be made that will affect the outcome of certain situations in our show, such as who is leader and who will perform what task. More specifically, in episode 7, when the team decides that what they will do with their new specimen, the infected Dr. Full of Himself. You will also see how human resources, organizational structure, will play a role in who is chosen for which job and how our characters were selected to play the vital roles they perform, which is specifically covered in episode 1. Individual behavior will also be emulated as our story develops. This is a major factor in each character's decision-making skills, as you'll especially see with Dr. Full of Himself and between Adam and Samantha in episode 5. Foundation of control is mainly seen through Jim's character, as he is always eager to step up to the plate and take leadership roles and perform them well. You will also see examples in Episode 1. During Episode 4, you will see great examples of the foundation of planning, especially from Jim as he helps the team together to work efficiently. Managing change and innovation is a key point during our storyline, when Jim and David get into a heated discussion about change. During the series, you'll also see a couple examples of communication and interpersonal skills. A couple of our characters are hard-headed in the beginning, and especially when Jim is promoted to head of research. You will definitely see these examples throughout episodes 4, 5, and 6. Managing groups and teams is also dominantly shown by Jim, as he is our main character. There are many great examples of good management skills, and especially with delegation. Sometimes motivating leadership and trust can be a hard thing for a manager to obtain, and our series shows how it takes time and positive roles in management for Jim to obtain this from the other members of the team. It is also shown in episode 1 when Dr. Boss Lady passes things over to Dr. Full of Himself. Overall, our TV show helps show the good and bad of business management.
Through the principles of management, I can conclude that management is a culmination of all the areas of business, such as accounting, economics, marketing, and statistics. Managers are responsible for processing all of the information provided to them by the different departments or areas of the organization. Managers must make decisions based on the information they are given. I can conclude through what I have learned in this course about the environment of management that perception is crucial to the success of a corporation. The way the public perceives the entity is important, as is the perception of its members, employees, and their happiness in their work. Their happiness in their work is crucial to your success. The goal of management should be not only to have your associates do their work because their boss told them to, but to do it because
I've learned that management principles are the guidelines for the decisions and actions of managers. They are derived through observations and analysis of events in actual practice. Throughout this course, I've experienced 4 major principal functions through our finger puppet presentation. That's planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Planning helped us to draw out a detailed action plan towards each milestone. Organizing helped us distribute resources and also organize each group member according to tasks. Leading was when our team leader went beyond just managing a task. She communicated, motivated, and also inspired each group member to produce a higher level of productivity. Controlling was when we completed our task. Our team leader, she compared our results to our goals. And if we did not meet our goals, she would make those necessary corrections so we can meet those goals and complete that task.
Overall, this is probably one of the best online classes I've ever taken. I mean, there's this really big group project, and normally I absolutely hate those kind of group projects, but that's a really awesome group, and, well, I like the fact that we're actually encouraged to be creative and make it actually interesting with what we're doing with our video projects. Instead of just doing the same old boring everyday thing, we got to actually do a zombie apocalypse management story, which is pretty freaking awesome. So I really liked how creative the class was allowed to be, and that even went with the kind of along with lessons. Normally with business classes, the metaphors and stuff they use for lessons and instructions are always very down to earth and real life, and that just makes it hard to follow for me. Like, when you use sports or fashion metaphors, I just read it and I'm like, what is this? I'm sorry, I don't understand half these words, they're just blurring together, I don't understand what you're saying. But this class uses Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Star Trek, superheroes, all those things that when I read them, like, hey, yeah, that makes total complete sense. And it actually lets me make metaphors in my writing assignments, so I can talk about things like Star Wars and S.H.I.E.L.D. and superheroes, and the teacher won't think I'm a complete moron for it, which is awesome. Overall, I really liked the class, but the only downside about it was that I felt the writing assignments were a bit repetitive. I mean, every single one, they kind of felt like, hey, this is the same thing we wrote about last week, except it's not the exact same, but it's pretty much the exact same thing we wrote about last week. Huh. Like, yeah.
My recommendations for new students in this course is to make sure that you stay on top of your classwork because most of the work is group work, and if you don't stay on top of your group work and you leave your group's members stranded, they are allowed to go to the professor and tell the professor that you have done that, and then that can take away from your grade. And the work is actually very easy, so you want to make sure you get your full credit. Just make sure you stay on top of your group work and don't slack. It's easy to slack in this class because we only have assignments due on Sundays most of the time. So it's just really important to make a calendar of all your due dates so you don't miss up and see that you actually have 2 assignments due one day instead of just the average one writing log or the one milestone.